good evening to you watching West Nile Television. It's the 11th of February. Today is a Sunday. You're most welcome for the weekly roundup with me, Farish Majid. And to begin off with the news bulletin, the civilian fraternity in West Nile sub-region comprising of politicians, the business community, the clergy, the Congolese, among others, on Tuesday, 6th of February 2024, joined the UPDF and other security organs in celebrating the 43rd Tarehe Sita celebrations. And Suta Yusuf has more details on the story.
The Uganda People's Defense Forces Day, commonly known as Tarehe Sita anniversary, is a day when General Eli Tumwine shot the first bullet at Kabamba Barracks on 6 February 1981 in a guerrilla war formed and commanded by His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The event, which happened in Arua City, attracted a number of dignitaries, including politicians and other nationals like Congolese, Nubians, Indian communities, among others. The Central Division Arua City Council Deputy Speaker Honorable Victor Lomori Vidal thanked the NRA Historical for liberating the country, which has given birth for young people to come into leadership positions in Uganda.
Whatever you did on this day gave birth to young leaders like us. Because right now when you go to councils, almost 99% of our council is NRM. And you know it's not easy. I can give an example. You go to Kampala, councillors yote NUP, mayor yote NUP, Arua City councillors yote NRM. Mutafa mkoneke, you clap. It's not easy.
Honorable Alfred Okuwanji, the LC5 chairperson for Arua district, said the insecurity at play is now hatred among themselves on small ethical and clanism differences. He urged the men and women in uniform to be on the watch, as some people are already plotting extremism in politics by arresting opponents as the year for the general election 2026 nears.
You've done your part. The uniformed forces, you've done your part. As district chairman, I want to say, we want to thank you for the peace and tranquility that you have promoted in this country and also the region. I want to call upon you. The insecurity we have now are in these forms. One, we hate ourselves. There's no love amongst ourselves. There's sectarianism. Even when politics are coming, some of us are busy planning and scheming to arrest some of us.
Lieutenant Colonel Nathan Bainamugisha, the 409 Brigade Commander, says there is need to celebrate people in West Nile for their sacrifices and support in fighting other guerrilla outfits which emerged like the West Nile Bank Front 1 and 2, Bamuza Group, LRA Groups, ADF, among others.
There is a need to celebrate the heroic contribution of people's West Nile in consolidating the gains of revolutionary struggle, especially the sacrifices and the support people gave during the fight against the counter-revolutionary forces such as Juma Ors, West Nile Bank Front 1 and 2, Bamuze Group, Rhodes Resistance Army, now ADF based in Eastern DRC, Congo. Asante sana for your support.
The chief guest for the celebration, Charles Ishogur, the RCC for Arua City, applauded the people of West Nile for their tireless effort and appealed for them to use their security and stability in Uganda to embrace government programs like PDM for socio-economic transformations, and also rallied them to use the peace to promote Pan-Africanism.
The first time in the history of East Africa, for the first time in the history of Africa, in Uganda, money under PDM was challenged from the center up to the parish. The parishes were used as an epicenter for socio-economic development. And I would like to assure you listening here, PDM is here to stay. Every financial year, government is going to release 100 million to the parishes or to the world. We must prepare ourselves to say bye-bye to poverty.
Tarehe Sita is a Kiswahili word meaning 6 days, and it is celebrated every year on the 6th of Feb to mark the liberation of Uganda under the NRA. Peace Ushaki, Usuta Yusuf, West Nile TV, NILE CAST.
Welcome back and moving on. The State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kuching Freedom, has directed the PDM managers in Zombo District to immediately disperse the funds. The State Minister for Northern Uganda, Honorable Grace Kuching Freedom, has directed PDM managers in Zombo District to immediately disperse the funds to the selected beneficiaries, as this left some locals in speculative mode to benefit from the government funds. The minister issued the directive on Tuesday afternoon during a belated NRM Day celebrations that took place in Zombo District at Elengu Village, Zeu Sub-County in Zombo District. Alfred Jawok has more details on the story.
The minister issued this directive on Tuesday afternoon during a belated NRM Day celebration for Zombo District held at Elengu Village, Zeu Sub-County, Zombo District. The minister was silently informed by one of the PDM beneficiaries that Zombo District has disbursed only 4 billion shillings out of the total of 6 billion shillings the district has received. Upon this report, that the minister wondered why the district has failed to fully disburse the funds. According to Kuyushwin, the district failure to disburse the money to the beneficiaries will demand for an inquiry into this matter.
Because by this time, they should have disbursed only 6.1 billion to the beneficiaries. But as of now, they have only disbursed 4 billion. 4.1. So, going to come to the cow, they should disburse this money as soon as possible. Because most of the other districts have already disbursed their money, and the people are using it for households, empowerment, economic development. So I think that is the biggest thing I'm going to do. And we are still going to be in the one financial year of this financial year. So it means work in Zombo is going slow. Then the collection is going slow. If there is any challenge with the data collection, they should let us know so that we can make some support, give them some support to do it faster.
However, Edward Echo, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Zombo District, said there is interference and instigation from politicians, and some beneficiaries have not submitted their national identification numbers, which makes it hard for the district to disburse the funds fully.
This is what is only to lay the entry so that this money goes the right beneficiary. So apparently we have done
that. As per the PDM guidelines, beneficiaries were meant to select enterprises that they deemed lucrative and less labor intensive to be able to generate returns to enable them to pay back the money. The Parish Development Model PDM is a government program meant to uplift 39% of households from a subsistence economy to a money economy through the distribution of a revolving startup capital or loan of 1 million shillings to each of households across the country. Alfred Jawok, West Nile TV, Nile Cast.
Welcome back and moving on with the news bulletin. The leaders of West Nile sub-region, which borders the two countries of the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan, have raised concern over the issue of raising that is taking care of the refugees, and this was during a recent meeting with the stakeholders. Take a look at the story.
Uganda, one of the countries recognized internationally for hosting millions of refugees fleeing insurgencies from the neighboring border countries of Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan, with about 700,000 of these refugees living in West Nile sub-region. Out of the 13 districts in West Nile, only 4 are recognized for being hosting districts for the refugees. And these are the districts of Amadiokolo, Terego, Koboko and Yumbe. Nebi District Chairperson Emmanuel Rombi complained of this, saying the impact of refugees is felt by all the districts within the region in terms of resource sharing. This revelation was made during a regional engagement with the stakeholders organized by VNG International and attended by representatives of various local governments at Desert Breeze Hotel in Arua City.
we are asking questions. How do these refugees go to Arua? How do they go to Mariokolo without passing maybe Pakwachi, Zombo? Then also areas like Marasha, who are neighbors to these settlement areas or refugee hosting. So we feel we are being discriminated, or why are we not being picked as part of the host community?
Ejibwasa Manguzu, the country representative VNG International, says the conference was intended for all the governments to come together and discuss on refugee management, since the impact is felt by all the local governments.
And we realize that lots of the challenges that we are talking about in terms of the presence of refugees in West Nile, and indeed governance challenges, cut across the West Nile region. And so the reasonable thing to do is to call all the leaders and stakeholders in West Nile for this kind of engagement to deliberate on how they can strengthen collaborative action in responding to the challenges faced as a result of refugees and the overall governance issues.
Joseph Allen, the UNHCR program officer at the Arua sub-office, lauded partners for extending support towards the refugees.
It happens, and that is the reality. I don't think that some people in Khartoum were thinking that one time they will find themselves in Uganda. But that is the situation. It can happen to anybody among ourselves. And lastly, I want to appreciate partners, particularly those who are working in the settlement. Really, there is an indication of how we are resolving the issues together. I have seen the schools where you will see one classroom was built by UNHCR, another one for government, another one by World Vision, for example. I'm just giving examples. This is just indication that how we are committed to the cause of the refugees. Thank you so much.
Sanya Wilson, the mayor of Koboko municipality, called for unity among the leaders in addressing the refugee crisis.
Unless we come together as team, we need team. Unless we come together, we may not have the bargaining power. Unless we come together, we may not even have the money to get. So we need teamwork. Once we have teamwork, we'll have the power. Once we have the power, we'll have money. And once we have the money, this money can be trusted to the young people. Right now, everybody in West Nile does not have money, simply because the leadership, which is supposed to bargain collectively from the center to get money, are not united.
Similarly, Ida Koma Stephen, the acting commissioner in charge of district inspection with Ministry of Local Government, says the relationship between the leaders is still far-fetched, as he says there is need for it to be harmonized.
As you might have heard from the stakeholders, the linkage between the local political leaders and the central government political leaders, they are area members of parliament, is still not so cordial. So there is need to come together and advocate for the same goal, because WENDA is providing the driving wheel. So if the MPs and the local political leaders, like the chairpersons, the mayors, together with the technical people, can come under one roof to craft strategies of how they can move as West Nile team, that will be okay. Thank you.
Refugees in West Nile both live in the rural areas at the camps and urban areas such as Arua City because of different reasons. Faris Majid, Mukulia Lawrence, NILE CAST, West Nile TV.
Welcome back, and moving on with the news bulletin. Some government primary schools in Moyo district are grappling with inadequate finance for running school activities. As the first term of the academic year 2024 commenced, this concern was raised by the head teacher of Father Bilbao Memorial Primary School and Moyo Boys Primary School before the minister, that is the State Minister for Primary Education, Honorable Dr. Joyce Kaduku Moriku, who also doubles as the Woman Member Parliament for Moyo District. Okumu Dominic has more on the story.
The head teachers are concerned about the little funds being disbursed by the Ministry of Education and Sports to schools, which cannot do much in terms of running the schools, and request for increase in the funds so as to smoothly run the activities in the school. Mr. Lowerigo James, the head teacher Moyo Boys Primary School, said the school is grappling with a number of challenges ranging from the little financial support provided by the government in the names of the capitation grant to lack of classrooms for the learners, among others. and therefore request the minister to consider forwarding the matter for consideration.
Briefly, as a school, we are facing some challenges. One of the challenges is financial support, mainly the grants that we are getting from the government. What we are getting is not enough, it's meager, cannot cater for most of the things that are required in the school. So if the government can increase a little the amount that they are giving per child, it will be a little bit better. 2, infrastructure. When you look at the population and you look at the structures we have, they are dilapidated. Through the support of the parents, I wish you have time, you go to the other block. They gave for us little amount of money. We did a little painting in the classroom, and we made the floor, although rough. But if the government can think of also making renovation on the blocks of the classrooms that they have constructed, is okay, because some of these classrooms were constructed a long time ago in the 90s. Now we are in 2000. And apart from that also, the classrooms are not enough. The population is bigger. We have that challenge.
Mr. Kuku Robert, the head teacher of Father Bilbao Memorial Primary School, said the issue of late disbursement of capitation grant to schools in the district has been a habit which has made them to always make sure before they break home for holidays they save some little funds so as to start a new term ahead, because the grant usually don't come timely.
It has been a culture since in then. Normally when schools are opening, the schools normally open as usual, but bear in mind that as administrator, whenever you are beginning to open, there should be a reserve, meaning that regarding last year's academic strategy, where they reserve for the opening, knowing that at the beginning the capitation will not be timely, but as the school opens soon, we shall receive capitation grant. There has been a culture, as I said. We normally open schools without receiving capitation grant, but as soon as school begins is when we receive.
Mr. Malimaiko, the district education officer Moyo, said it's true the ministry has disbursed some grants for running the schools, only that there has been some little delay in the disbursement process, but he is optimistic that schools will be able to receive their capitation grants this week for the smooth running of school activities.
It is true we got release advice from the ministry, but Ministry of Finance took time to give us the cash limits. Then the warrants were just approved last weekend, and this week we should be able to complete the processing so that the schools are able to use the capitation.
Honorable Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, the State Minister for Primary Education, who doubles as the Woman Member of Parliament, Moyo, said it's true the Ministry of Finance through the Ministry of Education has released funds for running activities in schools. However, she is not so sure whether the district has received the funds, but is positive that the money will be available for use latest next week.
Finance has released the funds meant for capitation grant for the entire country, and we are happy that the money was released just at the beginning of the academic cycle, the new term 2024. However, the process is still on the way to enable the money reach to the districts, but I am very hopeful by the end of this week, before the end of this week, the money will be in the various districts, because there is a process. Once it is released, it's not automatic that today you get the money, but the process is there, And I'm very hopeful before the end of the week, the money meant for capitation grant for all the primary schools, secondary schools, it will be in the various districts, including Moyo district. And for that matter, I want to call upon the administrators, the DO, and all the responsible officers to ensure that once this money reaches the district, it should go to the beneficiaries. It should go to the schools, and the schools perform their duty as expected. Please use the money responsibly. Let there be value for money. We want to realize performance. We want the outcome of whatever resources we have to be seen in the performance, and that is the results, because they're the future of the country.
Last week, the Ministry of Finance released some funds for running activities in schools as the first term of the new academic year 2024 opens yesterday, 5th February 2024. These funds are meant for the day-to-day running of school activities so as to equip the learners with knowledge, and it's from these monies that the school administrators plan for different school activities on timely basis. I'm Dominic Antonio Kumu for West Nile TV, NILE CAST.
Welcome back, and moving on. In Kitukum district, teachers have reported that most of the parents are sending their children without school fees and other requirements, as many of them are requesting for the schools to give them more time. In the last primary living examinations results released recently, Kitugum district was ranked among the best, that is in the Acholi sub-region. Stephen Okello has more details of the story.
As many schools, especially those in the rural area, registered low turn-up for school on the first day of the 2024 school calendar, majority of schools in Kitgum municipality have registered high number of pupils and students.
And I want to call upon other parents to send their children back to school. You see, when a child comes to school, reports on the first day and gets prepared, adds value to how that child will perform. So I am going to take time and also have a meeting with the teachers.
Just like in most of the schools from Kitgum municipality, in Jilio Pastore Nursery and Primary School, out of 435 pupils who have registered for the first term of 2024, 315 reported on the first day of the school.
The first day is the first step up. You cannot start moving from somewhere. You start with one step. If you miss the first day, you have missed it all. So I encourage parents to always plan properly so that the first day of reporting, every child should be in school.
Mojas Nyero responded to some parents who were complaining over the rising number of school requirements levied on them by private school.
It's important that our parents should really also understand the new life that we are undergoing. Currently in Horizon in particular, the most expensive requirement that our parents are submitting is the 2 kilograms of sugar. And that, I think that costs at most 10,000. They're also submitting rice, which is meant for children to eat. I would request that our parents should really learn to cooperate.
Uchien Matthew Akia, one of the parents, urges fellow parents to always invest their resource and time in the education of their children. According to Akia, many parents in Acholi sub-region do not prioritize education of their children.
Is that education is expensive in terms of understanding and roles of parents. In most cases, parents in rural schools would want their children educated, but unfortunately they don't want to invest in education. They don't want to play their roles in education. They don't want to meet the needs, the educational needs of their children. They don't even follow up their children at school. They don't provide what is required for their children. And at the end of the day, when children don't perform well, they blame the teachers, they blame the school management, they blame PTA, when they have not played their role.
Mary Sujan Lalweng, the municipal inspector of school, Kitgum municipality, says the good working relationship between the education department and other stakeholders was the major factor that led to the good turn-up of children in school on the first day.
We want to start today, moving to schools to see that our teachers begin their teaching today, the children begin learning today, so that as we end the year, we should perform more than what we have scored in 2023.
Kitgum District was ranked the best in Acholi sub-region by the Uganda National Examination Board in the last yearly results that have just been released. And the good turn-up of learners on the first day of the school calendar in 2024 are attributed to this joint effort. Stephen Okello for West Nile Television, NILE CAST.
Moving on, preparations already in high gear as Moyo District main modern market nears completion. The facility costing more than 3 billion is expected to boost on the revenue collection of the district and also employ dozens of people living in the district. Okumu Dominic has more on the story.
The town council holds authority over the soon-to-be-completed modern market because of its location within the town council, and they have been conducting series of engagement meetings with the market vendors, with the latest coming yesterday 9th February 2024 at the town council library, which attracted over 600 market vendors who went through the first phase of space allocation in the soon-to-be-completed market. Honorable Chandiga Caesar, the chairman local council 3 Moyo Town Council, said as a town council they thought it wise to first allocate market space for the old vendors of Moyo Market. However, the allocation had some conditions attached. Among them includes a vendor having an operational business on ground, whether he or she has been paying license and taxes have been some of the conditions that have been attached, which is meant to regulate operations in the market.
Now we have given an opportunity for the vendors, the old vendors of Motown whose records are there, to first be the one to get their rooms. But there are conditions, because if you don't give conditions, then the number of people here will overwhelm the market. So there were some conditions so that we bring people who have shown capacity, which is very important.
Mrs. Chota Vivian, the town clerk, Moyo Town Council, when asked on how the new modern market will help in revenue enhancement for the town council, said it's obvious when there is money coming in, there is development, but however said the market is purely going to provide services to the people, and therefore the money realized through the market will be reinvested in improving the facilities like the garbage management and other services within the market.
When there is money coming in, there is development. But of course this one is purely service delivery, because whatever proceeds we get out of this market, it has to go back to servicing this market. For instance, we have a big challenge with garbage management. It's going to produce garbage every day, and we must ensure the place is clean and garbage is taken. Right now, garbage site is about 8 kilometers from here.
Honorable Anyama Williams, the chairman local council 5 Moyo District, said this is going to be the first time Moyo District will have such a modern market, adding that the vendors are going to have such a structure for the first time in the district, because most of the vendors have been sitting under trees, but now this is a great opportunity for them to be under such beautiful structures, though not enough, but it's worth it, adding that this will provide conducive business environment with better and improved facilities for the vendors.
This is the first major market infrastructure in the history of Moyo. Many of our market vendors have been sitting in the sun for all the years of their time of business. Though not enough now, but there is some shelter. There is a shelter which is going to accommodate a number of our market vendors in a very organized place with the proper hygiene and toilet facilities, with the conducive business environment.
Mr. Gore Goffin, the resident district commissioner Moyo, lauded the government for taking up the initiative to construct the modern market. He, however, said one of the biggest challenges Ugandans have been facing is the manipulation of people in allocating market spaces, which the people of Moyo want to avoid. He adds that the market stalls are not enough, and this has made them to ask vendors to share so that they can keep running their businesses as the district continues to wait for the second phase of the project.
Key issues in Uganda has been manipulation of allocation of spaces in the markets in Uganda. You have seen in all the municipalities, most of the markets have had problems This time we want to ensure that that process is done very transparently. The list will be displayed from today. Anyone who has any information that is contrary, please bring it up before final possession of the spaces is done.
Moyo Modern Market, which nears completion, is being constructed by the government of Uganda under the Uganda Support for Municipal Infrastructure Development USMID program. The market sits on close to 2.5 hectares of land in Moyo town and has the capacity to accommodate over 600 market vendors who trade in different goods and commodities. The new market, after completion, will cost over 3.1 billion Ugandan shillings and is expected to start operating on 1st of March 2024. I'm Dominic Anthony Okumu for West Nile TV, Nile Cast.
And finally, after Gulu City Council Authority secured a school for the 26 children of the LRA combatants, these children were not able to join their fellow students on the first day of school after Kerkwaro failed to perform a ritual that could enable them mingle and freely interact with others in public. According to the elders at Kerkwaro, actually, rituals must first be performed to avoid a dominical attack on these children in public. Okumu Dominic filed this story.
The children of the ex-LRA combatant who have just been repatriated from Central African Republic to Uganda last year cannot access school before the significant rituals which are supposed to be performed by Achuli Kekwaro to initiate them back to the community is done.
La première préoccupation, c'est qu'ils disent qu'ils ne peuvent pas aller dans les centres de formation s'il n'y a pas la cérémonie ancestrale.
This came after Gulu City Council Authority, together with APRO, an NGO currently supporting government of Uganda to rehabilitate this ex-LRA combatant in Gulu City, had already secured both primary for children and vocational training school for their parents.
We made a visit to Vanguard Primary School and agreed with the teacher that all the 26 be admitted. And they were given admissions. They have been inducted.
After learning this from APRO, the Minister of State for Northern Uganda, Grace Freedom Kuyechwin, ordered Gulu City Council Authority to quickly approach Kekwara Chule for this matter.
Apparently, they will not start school. They will not start the skills training unless the cleansing is done. Now, I don't know what you have discussed with them. What is entailed in this cleansing? Who is going to do it? How are we going to do it? I think that one needs to come out. You have to discuss with them what is involved in this cleansing, how it is done, when it is done, where it is done.
Okedo Kwana, the spokesperson for Kekwara Chule, says traditionally any member of a Chule community who has been away from home for a long time and his whereabouts were not known by his or her family members, and initiation rituals is performed to welcome and clean all the bad spirit he or she might have encountered while away from home.
There is a tree called Kobo, I don't know the botanical name, that will be split and placed together with an egg, the local chicken egg of Acholi, and then one they call the Yibi, the one for opening the granary. So they will be placed at the gate there. As these children enter into the palace here, they will step on the egg, one egg, and they pass through the split Popo and the Yibi, and they enter. And that, because a combination of these three items help in washing away all the bad omens, all the memories.
Okona also explained the importance of these rituals to both the community and these ex-LRA combatants together with their family members.
Why this is done is to avoid these children being attacked by evil forces. Wherever they go, even the adults, we want them to be clear of any evil thoughts,
anything that may come to make them maybe become violent in the community, because in the event that any one of them maybe attacks and injures any child in a school setting, one, the other children will begin running away from them. They will be isolated.
Late last year, 141 ex-LRA combatants, together with their family, were repatriated back to Uganda from both Central African Republic and DRC Congo. At the moment, the ex-LRA combatants with their family are being rehabilitated in Buru City, waiting to be reconciled back to their family. Stephen Okello for West Nile Television, Nile Cast.
All right, dear viewer, that does it for today's edition of the Weekly News